the software development workflow that you see on YouTube is very different than what you actually do in the software industry. So today, let's talk about 5 things that are super relevant for the industry, but that you rarely see on YouTube. So I can tell you from experience that people are not going to watch super long videos. In fact, you're probably already looking at the related videos section, or you're having a look at the comments, or maybe you're writing a comment. Please do that, by the way. It really helps with the algorithm. But the thing is, in a professional setting, you just have many, many more steps that you cannot show in a YouTube video. And today I just wanted to talk about them so that you're aware of them, okay? So the first thing that you rarely see on YouTube is proper error handling. And that is what distinguishes a junior engineer from a very experienced senior engineer. Because the senior engineer knows that things will go wrong. Like, no matter what you do, things will go wrong, and you need to handle that properly. Services will be down, like APIs won't work, there will be like bugs, and this is supposed to go into the initial design, right? To say, okay, how do we handle errors? Do we have like a consistent way on how we return errors in our APIs? Like, that's very, very important. There's even like an RFC for that. It's like called problem JSON. I think it's RFC 7808. I'm not quite sure. I mean, you can read through that. There's like a standardized format in which you should return errors, but you rarely see that because most of the time, like, people are just interested in, okay, I want to get like an introduction to something and I want to understand how a particular library works, and then I don't care about error handling. But what I found is that this behavior, it kind of creeps into like the development flow, you know? So that people say, oh, I implement the happy path and then I'm done. And that's just not how it's supposed to be, because you will have like a lot of issues then in production. Things are not going to work. You will sweat a lot. So don't do that. So the second thing that you will rarely see on YouTube kind of goes hand in hand with the first thing a little bit, and that is proper logging. Like, proper logging is not trivial. Like, if you go on YouTube, like, people will just log something, or they will not log anything. But that's not how you should do it in the software industry, right? Because you should think about, okay, what do I need to log so that I know what the system is doing? But at the same time, you also don't want to spam your logs, because, you know, you might have like some log aggregator, maybe, I don't know, Datadog, for example, and it's just expensive to store these logs. So if you log everything, it's just expensive and actually also pretty useless. But if you don't log enough and something goes wrong, you don't really know what actually happened. And this is kind of like the trade-off that we have to make. Yeah, and then of course, if something goes wrong, people just typically like console log the error and that's it. But that's not how things are supposed to be handled. You know, maybe you can recover from the error automatically. So it requires like a little bit more thought, like these two areas, proper error handling and proper logging. But if you get them right, it's going to save you a lot of headache. And believe me, you don't want to have this situation where you're running in production, the thing is crashing, and you just don't know what it has done because you haven't put like enough thought into like your logging and your error handling strategy. Moving on with number 3. So the third thing that you will rarely see on YouTube is application monitoring. So what happens after you've pushed like the button, after you've pushed to production? If you push like your app and it's running, that's like great. But how do you know what it is doing, right? How do you know that it's like running and that it's not down? And this is like where we come to like application monitoring. So that means, for one, uptime monitoring, for example, within like some container orchestration service like Kubernetes, that kind of always does like health checks for the service to check whether the service is online or not. But it also extends way beyond that. So for example, what you want to do is maybe you want to have some statistics on like the memory and CPU consumption of your application. Or you kind of want to see, okay, what is the average response time for like particular endpoints? Or, and this is also very important for management, you want to have a dashboard where you see how many times you have done like a particular action. So how many times have you created like a new user in the database? How many times have you made like a payment? Or you want to say, or you want to see how often do I get like the status code like 500 or like 400 in like a call when I make a call to an external service. So this monitoring thing, it's really important because you need to constantly watch what your application is doing. And once it's down, you need to immediately react to it. There needs to be like some human intervention or someone from the SRE team to kind of make sure that this thing is running so that, the customers have a good experience. So the fourth thing, and I know it's your favorite topic, guys, I really know, is testing. Like you rarely see that on YouTube because most of the time people just want, to gain an understanding of something, but they don't care so much about the tests. But I found that this behavior then kind of also creeps into like the development process, right? So people just implement like the logic, but they don't have tests. And guys, if you do not have tests, your code will not get merged, at least in a professional environment. So you need to have tests, you need to have unit tests, you need to have integration tests, maybe also like end-to-end tests. And it's not just that you should write tests for the sake of writing tests. You should have a systematic and engineering-driven approach towards writing tests. So that means thinking about what is the most critical thing, what could go wrong, like what parts of the system should I even test. So you want to test like the payment system more than, I don't know, like some UI, right? That's like really, really important. So it's not just about having like some tests, but having a systematic approach towards testing, thinking about what makes sense, and then writing the test. So one more thing, if you want to properly test things, it's probably also going to have an impact on how your code looks. So spaghetti code is like notoriously hard to test, right? Because if you have like a more modular approach, then it's easy. You can just test like the individual modules. And if you've done it properly, if you use like dependency injection for your applications, then it's like fairly easy to get like a good test coverage, to have like your unit tests and integration tests in order. That's like pretty good. But testing spaghetti code is just hard. And point number 5 that people are rarely doing on YouTube tutorials is thinking about code reviews and thinking about clean code. So that means you want to write your code so that it's easy to understand, because every software product like has a life cycle, right? You might write that code once, but a lot of people are going to read that code afterwards. And if it's like hard to understand, then you're going to have like a spaghetti application. It's going to be hard to maintain. Changes will be like very painful, and it's going to take you a lot of time. So having like a proper code quality is like really important. Yeah, so these were the top 5 things that are super relevant for the software industry, but that you rarely see on YouTube. Like, what do you think? Like, what's your opinion? Like, did I forget anything? Or maybe I just oversaw something. Maybe some particular topics are also covered. I don't know. Just let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Also, if you have a question, you can reach out to me on Twitter. And guys, by the way, please smash that like button. Smash that like button if you want better tutorials. So thank you so much for watching. Leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.